Hey guys, Svetlana Sotak here. Welcome to my very first YouTube video. So I went back and forth a little bit trying to decide what to talk about today, and I've decided quilt as you go technique would be a perfect way to start. It's my very favorite way to use up small scraps of fabric and just turn them into fun and useful projects. And you know, I think you guys will like it too, because every time I post a project using this technique on Instagram, a lot of people like it and comment, and also a lot of people have questions. So I thought this might be a great opportunity for us to dive in a little bit deeper and just talk a bit more about materials I use, and also how exactly I put these quilted panels together, how I trim them down to size, and then how I turn them into useful projects. And here are some examples of the things I made using this technique. So here is a set of quilt as you go coasters I made a little while ago, and I think they're just so sweet, definitely super useful. We use them in our house all the time, and they also make great housewarming presents. And also, I like to turn these panels into zipper pouches. So I use the panel for the outside, then use a lining and just sew it up as I would a regular zipper pouch, with no raw edges. Just really lovely way to use up scraps. And here's one more example of a zipper pouch that I made just recently. Super fun, right? Let's start, shall we? Here's what you will need to make your patchwork panel. 7-inch square of cotton batting. The reason I choose cotton batting is because it's a low loft batting. This one is warm and white. I also like warm and natural, but other cotton battings that are low loft will work well as well. I would not recommend using polyester batting for this kind of project because it's too thick, too much loft there. You will need scraps of fabric in your preferred choice of color. I also recommend that you press your scraps before you work with them, because this way it will make for a much nicer finished project. And you will also need fabric shears. Okay, before we start sewing, I wanted to show you an example of a prepared patchwork panel. This is what we want to end up with. So as you can see, our batting is the base of the panel. There is no backing attached to it at the moment. And we are just going to be adding scraps on top, just starting from the middle, making our way out and adding and quilting each square as we go. Now, I usually find it more fun and also quicker if I sort of prepare my patchwork in advance. So I take a different batting, just a piece of batting that's similar size to the one I'll be working on, and just play around with my scraps to see what kind of arrangement I'd like to come up with. And then I use that as a guide for my sewing. Okay, my machine stitch is set to 2.75. You can go with 2.5 as well. And we are now ready to start stitching. So I start by taking my middle scrap from my layout. Now I usually don't like to put it right in the middle. I like it offset a tiny bit, and I just start attaching it to my batting. As you can see, my sewing machine has a thread cutter right here, so it cuts the thread for me. You definitely can use a standard sewing machine without it. It will work perfectly fine. Now I'm using about 3/8 of an inch width between my stitches, and I'll just attach the whole panel to the batting. Once I did those stitches, I'm gonna go ahead and trim these threads. Now with Quilt As You Go, I find it really important to be as neat as possible when you're sewing, because you do not want to leave the threads right here. They would be showing through your patchwork because another patch is going right next to it. See, I'm just going to attach it right here. I'm just going to trim it. That's why fabric shears are so great by your sewing machine. And then you place it right sides together. And use 1/4 inch seam allowance to stitch the panels together. There's no need to back stitch at the beginning and end because you will be stitching over those stitch lines. And now we just go ahead, start by doing a line of quilting about 1/8 inch from the seam, and then 3/8 of an inch in between the stitches. Again, time to trim the threads. All right. You see how much shorter we needed than what we thought because of the seam allowances. And again, right sides together. Open up, press with your fingers. And as you can see, as I stitch, I sort of hold this corner down to make sure my machine is not pulling on the fabric like that, you see? So if I keep it nice and neat like this, it stays in place. Again, try to be as neat as possible, so just trim off stray threads if you need to. Now here I wanted to show you, if I have light fabric that's coming over darker fabric, if I placed it right here and this yellow would be sticking out, I would be able to see it through this light fabric. So what I like to do is move it just a tiny bit overlapping this yellow fabric. Just use maybe a slightly larger seam allowance, like so. And now finger press. See, now there is no yellow showing through. as you can see, I wanted to use this scrap, the striped one, but it just wasn't large enough, long enough, so I just added another scrap to it. Now I can stitch this here. Again, neaten things up, okay? Don't leave any little threads here. Almost getting to be the size that I want, but I'm going to add a few more scraps. So as you can see, I already ran out of the ones I prepared, so let me see. I'm just going to think about what to add to the side. Maybe some solid fabric right here would be nice. And again, because I have this stripe right here, I'm just going to overlap it, and the black one too. And then I need one more. Let's see, what can we add here? Maybe this one. I think this will be a large enough slab for me, or maybe I could still add, I could add a little bit of a strip of fabric right here, but I think I'm good to go. So this will be fine for my coaster. And here's another panel that I made just a while ago for you to see how different they can turn out. And then, so go ahead, make your panels, use up some of your scraps, and then next time I will show you how to turn these cuties into super useful coasters. Bye!